Every life tells a story. Join Frank Julian as he shares his, one chapter at a time, from Story of a Soul 2, releasing every Wednesday.
The Story of a Soul 2 by Frank Julian with Sean O'Neill, narrated by Frank Julian. Chapter 23, Overcoming the Mountain. In October, I was now ready for the new level of ministry. God had prepared me through tribulation to enter the kingdom of God. The bishop came for the ordination. It was a special day. I was excited to see that my family came. It was an encouragement. I remember becoming so emotional during the ordination, and I recall being embarrassed by that. I believe that God was marking the day. We had a nice dinner in the church hall. There was a sense of unity in the ministry and in the job of serving. The church began to grow. I sensed that I was growing in preaching. I was in charge of prayer, and there was a lot of prayer throughout the ministry. We had a special minister come to conduct a day-long service. Her name was Dawn, and she had a troop with her. They were all dressed in battle attire. It was strange, but something real happened in the spirit. I woke in the middle of the night. The word of the Lord came to me saying that I would do missions-based evangelistic crusades. It was so strong. I knew that I had to take steps in that direction. I met with a senior pastor on the next day and told him the word that I had received, and he said, "Okay, you're the missions pastor." I thought that it was appropriate that if I was the missions pastor, I should go on a mission. I knew the direction I should take. I was to talk to a brother named Dan about going to Honduras to minister at his brother's mission. He agreed, and 3 months later we went. I prayed over going and prepared spiritually and physically. I had never before actually wanted to go on a mission trip. I would support missions financially and in prayer, but go myself? No. Now I was going, and I knew it was God. I had no idea about the impact that this would have on my life and the lives of others. We arrived in Honduras, and Dan's brother, Les, had it all planned. We held services in the city and in the villages. It was a stretch, but I was growing again. I saw the depth of poverty in the third world. I wanted to help the poor and the sick. I remember one incident in particular on a mountain village. The first obstacle we had to overcome was climbing the mountain. It was only about 8,000 feet high. We drove up 5,000 feet, then had to climb the remaining height with amps, a generator, speakers, and other things. I was not used to climbing at all and got very much out of breath at the start of the last push-up. They said that I looked completely white and that I needed to lie down and rest. A young boy stood watch over me with a big stick. I asked him, "What is the stick for?" He said, "I use it if snake comes." I immediately got up and climbed the rest of the way. My mouth was like cotton. They offered me water, but I knew I couldn't drink their water. So a young lad climbed up a coconut tree and dropped down coconuts. They gave me coconut milk to drink. I felt their love and wanted to give back. It was a beautiful tropical setting high in the mountains. It was a small village, but everyone came. Les set up the lights and amplification. I preached, and it was interpreted in Spanish. I remember praying for a very sick baby as her mother held her. They felt our love. We would go back 3 years later with a team and conduct a medical mission. We hired a Honduran doctor. We had medical people on the team. World Medical Relief helped us bring $40,000 worth of medication. We only had to pay $2,000. We treated 1,100 people throughout the 4 days of offering the clinics. It gave me great joy. I was using my nursing education and my ministry education. I did not feel that my missions experience was over. In fact, I had no idea that it was only just begun. After the first Honduran trip, I was invited to Argentina and brought a team. The main outcome that sprung out of that experience was the fact that an African pastor, Ian Murray, brought a team there at the same time. We connected with them. I was invited to come to Africa. In my mind, I thought, I am never going to Africa. In January 2001, the church was having a week of prayer to start the new year. I had won the Smile contest that previous August. My daughter was in college. My son was a senior in high school, and I did not want to upset my life by going to Africa. Kathy, my main assistant in the missions department, said, "I really think you should go to Africa." I said that I had no one to go with me, and I wasn't going alone. Everyone I asked said no. Then at prayer that Wednesday night, I thought, I never asked the retired pastor if he'd go with me. He was in his 70s and had never gone into the mission field. I thought that it was safe to ask him. He said that he'd pray about it, and I said I would pray too. I did. The next day, I woke from a dream. In the dream, I was told that I would go to different places in the earth and people would write about me. I thought about the fact that people go on mission trips all the time and no one writes about them. I had no idea how much media coverage my trips would get. I experienced great joy and knew that the pastor would come with me. That Friday night at prayer time, he came up to me and confirmed that he would go with me to Africa. I was surprised, and yet I wasn't. His daughter lectured me and told me that I'd better take good care of her father. I assured her I would. We would go to South Africa and Botswana in March.
Thank you for listening. Join Frank Julian every Wednesday for a new chapter of Story of a Soul 2. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter.